Cultural hegemony refers to the use of various cultural tools, such as cultural theory, cultural products, cultural resources, culture, and human resources to be dominated social ideology in order to achieve the political, economic dominant aspects, cultural and social effects. In the economic globalization context, manifestations of cultural hegemony south theory to action by the secret into public, by the way into a multi-directional, aggressive, deceptive, size, complexity, long-term characteristics. The essence of the theory of cultural hegemony of Western centrism and Western superiority. American scholar Francis Fukuyama believes that the end of the Cold War meant that Western political civilization, economy, advanced values namely democracy, freedom's victory, with Marxism the result of a long struggle. To this end, in 1989 he wrote a special article entitled The End of History to mark the end of the Cold War. After a period of reflection and summary when asked, 1992 Fukuyama its monograph The End of History and the Last Man, published in the World. He tried to demonstrate that, the end is the end of the socialist history of the Cold War. The West generally agree that this means the end of freedom and democracy. Future dominant ideology is no longer a totalitarian politics has disintegrated, losing credibility and influence, nor communism, because communism with Western labor conflicts settlement has no appeal, only the free economy and democracy is the world's dominant discourse. Of course, this statement is the separation of logic and history, fact and value split which led to absurd conclusions. Then, Harvard University professor Samuel Huntington, in 1993 published two consecutive influential articles, Clash of Civilizations and What is Not Civilized, Post-Cold War World Paradigm. The central idea is, the determining factor in the future direction of the world's future structure and are neither economic nor ideological, but cultural, or a clash of civilizations between different countries and groups. Therefore, it is the academic theory called Clash of Civilizations. In his view there are differences between Western civilization, Confucian civilization, Japanese civilization, and Islamic civilization, Indian civilization, and East Slavic civilization politics, Latin America, and African civilization. Civilization is generated from the difference was caused by the conflict. Economic globalization brought to global exchanges, would inevitably lead to differences in culture, religion, and these differences for political and economic characteristics of a far cry harder for communication and coordination and consensus, Western and non-Western values in accordance with their respective standard reshaping the world. West civilization can dominate even assimilate non-Western civilizations. The approach is, to expand the scope of Western civilization, to strengthen cultural cooperation with Japan, the United States, Russia, to prevent alliances Confucian civilization and Islamic civilization, with the US-led Western civilization to compete. Nearly 20 years later, not as two American theorists of planning any signs of Western countries in the world in favor of the direction of development. In contrast, in 2008, in the same era that soft power concept of the former U.S. Assistant Secretary of Defense Joseph Nye, the face of China's reform and opening achievements deep feeling, the last 30 years, a 10% annual average of 8% the growth rate has greatly promoted the development of China. The real hit of economic performance, along with the revival of Confucianism as the main feature of the traditional culture, to improve the Chinese people's organizations in Asia and throughout the soft power. 2000 Joseph Nye has put forward the concept of cultural soft power resources. This resource is its values. From a certain perspective, freedom, human rights, and democracy is beautiful beacon weak, while other countries are learning. Emulate soft power. The second resource is cultural exports, including information television programs, as well as artistic and academic works on the Internet. In 2002 and 2004, he launched two of the monograph about the soft power theory, the U.S. hegemony confusion, why America cannot autocratic, soft power, the world political success, reiterated full advantage of cultural soft power and resources impact on the consolidation of the U.S. international position and future growth prospects.